Hello all, welcome to my channel. My name is Toast or Hanji Love. This is my first video on this channel, so I'm going to introduce myself a little bit before I get into the main content of the video. If you're interested, feel free to skip ahead using the chapters or timestamps in the description. As already stated, my name is Toast, and, as you can probably tell, I'm a K-pop stan. I've been in the fandom for just under a year. I alt Stray Kids and my bias is Han. More personal info about me as well as my other social media will be in my card in the description. I don't have a set plan for the content I will post here, but it will all be K-pop related. Anyway, enough with me, let's get into the actual video. In this video, as you can tell by the title, I will be reading some unpopular K-pop opinions from Reddit and giving my thoughts on them. Just as a disclaimer, this video is all light-hearted discussion about K-pop, idols, and the industry. I in no way intend to offend or hurt anyone with my opinions, and you are free to think whatever you want about me or the opinions expressed in this video. I expect you all to act in a kind and mature manner in the comments when giving your own opinions on these topics. Any disrespect, rudeness or bigotry will be deleted. Now, with all of that out of the way, let's get into the opinions. First, I will show a screenshot of the Reddit post for those who want to pause and read. Then I will give a shortened summary of the opinion and the explanation for those who prefer to listen to these types of videos. The first opinion is titled "Lily from nmixx is hard to listen to." OP goes on to explain, quote, "I know this is a very unpopular opinion, but I have been watching a lot of nmixx videos recently and I personally cannot listen to Lily sing for more than 5 seconds. I think she's a powerhouse vocalist and one of the best to debut this year, but when she sings high notes her voice just gets so loud and it sounds like she's screaming at times. I think she has a hard time controlling the volume of her voice. People say she's quote-unquote belting, but she doesn't sound like it half the time. I think it's a little too much. I will say before this video I haven't listened to her vocals too much, but I did watch a lot of clips for this video. I would have to say I sort of agree, sort of disagree. I definitely enjoy her voice much more than it seems that OP does, but I can see where this opinion comes from. I think her voice is much more suited to Western music, and her belting can sound a little amateurish at times. However, I do think she's one of the more talented female vocalists in the 4th gen also. Not super on topic, but her cover of Survivor by Destiny's Child is probably one of, if not my favorite K-pop cover of a Western song, and Lily sounds amazing harmonizing with Haewon. That being said, let's move on to the next opinion. The second opinion is titled "I don't think any idol looks good with fire engine red hair." OP elaborates by saying, quote, "Many people seem to love bright red hair on idols. I don't. In fact, I dislike it greatly. I have seen pictures of the idols people say have pulled off red hair, for example Hanjung, V, Rose, GU, G-Dragon, Joy. Some look better than others, but none look good. I really have to disagree on this one. Visuals and looks are always personal preference, so I get why someone might dislike this color on idols, but I personally love it. I'll put some examples up on screen now." Moving on to the next opinion. The third opinion I'll be talking about today is titled "I prefer online concerts to physical ones." OP explains, quote, "I've been to my fair share of concerts over the years, but only recently have I attended an in-person K-pop concert. I've also seen numerous online K-pop concerts, so it's not as if I'm pulling this opinion out of thin air. Firstly, I hate light sticks. They're so obnoxious and I have trouble seeing the stage because of them. Secondly, they, meaning live concerts, are predictable. I prefer when concerts are more spontaneous. I want to feel as if I'm included in the performance, not being performed at. Third, the screaming. I've never been to such loud concerts. Random shrieks that will blow your eardrums out when I'm just trying to listen to the music. Online, I get a great view. I don't have to travel. I can clearly hear the music, and I save a ton of money. I'll be honest, this one definitely made me a bit mad. As someone who can't afford to attend a lot of in-person concerts, the few that I have been to have been some of the best experiences of my life. Starting off, their first complaint is that they hate light sticks. I don't know how mad you have to be to hate something so innocuous. I've only been to one K-pop concert, sure, but I've never heard of someone saying they can't see the stage due to light sticks. That doesn't make any sense to me, to be honest. I also don't really understand their second point. I don't see how online concerts are somehow more spontaneous. Maybe I just don't have enough experience with online and live concerts, but I don't really get the point they're trying to make here. The third point I definitely understand if you're sensitive to noise. Although if you are, you probably shouldn't be going to concerts in the first place. Screaming really is a part of the experience for me, and it feels a little bitter to be mad at people simply having fun, in my opinion. The K-pop concert I went to was extremely loud, but I think that added to my enjoyment. It was such an intense and unforgettable experience, and I think the screaming and hype that crowds at K-pop concerts have really adds to the overall experience, instead of taking away from it. I also don't understand the point about not being able to hear the music, though I've only been to a concert at a smaller venue, so I can't imagine what it's like at a larger one. A concert isn't exactly about hearing the music as clear as you would on a streaming service. I mean, I do love live music, but you can't expect to be able to hear the music perfectly at a concert. That's sort of the point. In conclusion, I really don't think anything can beat in-person K-pop concerts. The hype and the experience of meeting other fans and seeing your idols in person is way better than sitting in front of a screen and watching them perform like you can at all times. The fourth opinion is titled 6 is the ideal number of members for a group. The post continues, quote, "A lot of 6-member groups have been debuting lately, Stacy, IVE, lesserafim, etc., and I think 6 is the perfect middle ground. On one hand, 6 members is enough to have good and contrasting talents. In bigger groups, it's common to have 1 or more members that aren't bringing anything to the table. There's less of that in smaller groups. It's also easier to get a good group chemistry if there is less members. On the other hand, 6 members is enough to have interesting dance formations. Smaller groups formations are often a little underwhelming. And I don't think having a hidden member or 2 centers is as bad as people say. G-Friend and lesserafim choreographies are better and more interesting than most groups with an odd number of members. I think I half agree half disagree for this one. I do tend to lean toward groups with an even number of members, and the choreographies are definitely more interesting. But that doesn't necessarily mean they're always good. I don't really think there's a perfect number of members for a K-pop group. I think it really depends on the members' talents and chemistry with each other. Blackpink, for example, works much better as a 4-member group, and Loona works perfectly as a 12-member group. It really depends on the concept and the idols themselves. I also prefer choreographies with an odd number of members, usually with 9 to 12 members, because I think they're more interesting to watch. But it also depends on the ability and talent of the choreographer. The fifth and final opinion for this video is actually about Stray Kids. It's titled "I don't really prefer Stray Kids' new music." OP says, quote, "Stray Kids produce a lot of meaningful songs and people seem to really like that about them. They're very popular and I feel like they're only going to get bigger. However, in my opinion, I really like their older music, in terms of beats and meaningful lyrics. Recently Stray Kids' new music, i.e. anything after God's Menu, I don't really like. I prefer their songs similar to Mixtape 1 or Voices. I guess I just enjoy more pop-like songs. I still like Stray Kids, I just feel like their older music was better. It might be because I became a stay so recently, no easy era to be specific, that I think like this, but I enjoy their new music just as much as their old music. Weirdly enough, their old music does feel very nostalgic for me, despite me not being in the fandom at the time of it being released, but I think their new music is just as enjoyable. I'll be honest, I wasn't the biggest fan of Maniac as a title track, but Charmer and Venom are undoubtedly some of my top B-sides this year so far. Not to mention the absolute gold that was Christmas Evil and No Easy. Silent Cry, Cheese, Sick, Domino, Thunderous and even Wolfgang are some of my favorite K-pop songs of all time, again probably because I joined the fandom around that time. But still, it's my opinion, I can do what I want, lol. I think that's going to be about it for this video. I know there weren't that many opinions in this video, but I think I went pretty in depth with each of them. I'll probably shorten them for the next parts, and of course I'll iron out all the kinks as this is my first video. If you made it this far, here's a cookie. I want to genuinely thank you all so much for watching until the end. I truly do appreciate it, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.